So we are going to discuss majorly about a few challenges and the experience of the teams that have been able to participate in iGEM. So on my panel, I have Rana Sala, who just presented. Is from the American University of Cairo and has managed to participate in iGEM. Also on the right side of Rana, there is Mary, who is from Kenya. Mary is currently a member of the ABSI Kenya team, and she will be also sharing her experience as a person who has been new to iGEM. And online we are joined by Dr. Faith Onditi, who works at the Institute of Primate Research. She is the current PI of the Kenyan team. So my first question, which possibly could go to the members who have been able to participate in iGEM, Rana and Mary, is what could be the major challenges that you have encountered, like as a person who has been able to be part of the iGEM team. So I will be able to start with Rana. She can be able to tell us a few challenges they have gone through as a team as I've tried to participate in iGEM. Thank you.
So mainly what challenges we have met, and it's actually like a big deal because we couldn't participate this year. So we participated in 2020, and as I mentioned to you that we were the very first team participating from ABSI. So the very first problem we faced is receiving funding. So actually we were lucky to get that the competition was held online. That's why we were able to get the funding, because we only got the registration fees. So we got from the university the $5,500, and then we got the second phase for the Jamboree tickets of $2,500. But I don't think that we could have been able to join if we were required like to go and travel and do all of these stuff. So what we were mainly missing is that we didn't have a good fundraising in order to fund our team in ABSI. And it's a problem faced by a lot of Egyptian teams. So each year I get contacted by many universities and many we have STEM high schools. We have around 13 schools, and each of them wants to have teams representing the school, but they couldn't do because of this issue. So I guess the main issue in Egypt is we don't have stakeholders who are really interested in the field of synthetic biology, or there are some, but we couldn't reach out to them. So we need to have this database of stakeholders that should be contacted, and we have also to know if any of certain of the help we are needing, that we need international funding source. So what I was mainly suggesting in the presentation, that if you're going to have a hub for the sport, so we can mainly secure funding from an international institution or whatever is the funding source, and we then get, or it can be even funded by iGEM, but we can have a funding for 2 new African teams. So having 2 only new African teams is a big change. You can imagine that a team that includes even 10 members, and each member can have the potential to train a lot other students, a lot as it was about experience. It can be training about the skills, it can be a training about the process, and it can be even a way to encourage his university or her university to fund them in the next sport. So if we can have these institutions that can fund only 2 iGEM teams from Africa each year, it would be a great addition. So that's mainly the problem we had, and also the lab access, but it was more because of COVID-19 restrictions. So I think if we are past COVID, we will have this problem solved.
Well, thank you so much, Rana. So Mary, you could possibly highlight about, as a person who has been new in iGEM, what problems have you encountered, or the challenges that you have faced as the ABSI Kenya team?
Okay, just to avoid repeating what Rana just said, funding was also a factor for us. But then we reached out to iGEM sponsors who were willing to fund our registration. They were willing to take us the extra step. So funding was, yes, a challenge, but it feels like we were able to maneuver around it, because other than having a sponsor pay for our registration, we were able to get awards or other grants, which are found on the website. You just apply for them, and then you just show how your project qualifies for the grant. So funding, yes, was an aspect, but it wasn't a big challenge. For Rana, she was affiliated with a university, but then in our case, we are our community lab. In this case, we are not affiliated to any organization, rather. So I'd say the biggest challenge was finding a partnership agreement with a lab where we could get the funds channeled to, as well as a working area space. That's why we have Dr. Faith from IPR. We are working at their institute for our iGEM research. So as a community lab, yes, it's funding, it's the lab space, as well as knowledge acquisition. As I said, it's been my first encounter with synthetic biology. So having enough knowledge to participate through the competition and bringing out your project to life, it takes more effort than most. So yeah, I'd say those are my top three challenges.
Okay, thank you so much, Mary. I think we have had a few challenges that have been faced by a new entrant in iGEM and a person who has been there for some time. So Dr. Faith Onditi is joining us online. She's the PI of the ABSI Kenyan team. And what I would like to ask possibly from Dr. Faith is to highlight for us how can we engage possibly the African, the stakeholders within Africa with help of iGEM to make sure we increase the number of teams that can participate in the iGEM competition. So hope Dr. Faith, you can hear us. Dr. Faith, you can wait like for a minute. We're not hearing you. We're just rectifying something small, so that she can come in. Because as I've said, we need to increase the number of teams that are participating in iGEM. So I want to hear from her what best can we do to engage stakeholders within Africa with the help of iGEM, to see that we can increase the number of teams, possibly in different countries, because we realize that there are only 5 countries that are currently participating in iGEM, and we'd like to see more, even over 50 of them participating. So, Dr. Faith.
All right, thank you, Erikan. I don't know if you can hear me now.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I'm really honored to be in this discussion panel. So when you think about synthetic biology in Africa, and just like Richard earlier on gave his presentation in terms of just the coverage of synthetic biology, other than it being still very new, I don't think it's been advocated for in as much as it should. One, maybe because either people are just not aware of it, or people are shying away from it, because whenever there's something new, if you have been in research for a while, you want to engage in an area that you're confident in. There's no way you will put up maybe a grant and expect to get funded when you do not have a little bit of background on what you probably intend to study. So I think for us, that's really where it begins. I think we need to collaborate more. I think we need to integrate more. But more than that, we also need to approach our predecessors. By that, I mean that if we would go to, for the various countries and whoever would be interested in your own local setup, find out who within your country has an interest in synthetic biology or has even done anything in synthetic biology. And for us, in as much as, Mary mentioned the challenges here and there, but one of the things that we are proud of and we really are excited about is we looked at the people who had done something on synthetic biology in Kenya, and we were able to ask them to hold our hands and become like people guiding us. And therefore, so they know that we exist and we know that they exist, because there's this, and this is what we, not just in synthetic biology, but in research generally, is where we duplicate research. So one person is doing something and another person is doing a similar thing, and all we do is keep on generating data and not being able to translate that research into a product, because everybody is generating their efficacy studies. Another person is doing probably a similar studies, and we do not have a platform for integration. So I think if we include synthetic biology as part of our curriculum, maybe in the schools, in the universities, in forums like this, conferences that are coming, it could be an immunology conference, but let them have a component of synthetic biology. Then we begin to create awareness, and people begin to generate interest. But also to just highlight some of the stories, the success stories that we are hearing from various teams. The Ugandan team that is preparing themselves for iGEM for next year, the Kenyan team, us, which are just new babies on the block. And just going by that, because I can tell you for a fact, even when we got into iGEM, we weren't sure that we will even be able to pull through. All we just needed is that we had an idea. We were excited about that idea, and we said, you know what, let's give it a shot. Let's just try. I mean, what do you lose in just trying? And so far, here we've come so far. So I think it's just collaborating and approaching each other. Let's not shy away from wanting to work from a team in Uganda. Let's not shy away from wanting to work with a team in Egypt. Find out, because one of the things that we've also found out in iGEM is that people are very generous with information. There is no team we ever approached and they were not willing to help us. If we needed help in this area, a team was always ready to help us, figure out how or navigate our way through. So the best thing for me, and what I want to just say, is let's collaborate more and let's highlight the need and the importance of synthetic biology in every setup, not just in iGEM or just a synthetic biology conference, because in such a conference, chances are 90% of us are interested in synthetic biology. We are already probably the ones who are interested. But if we go in a larger forum where it's not a synthetic biology workshop or conference, and we have a component of synthetic biology, then we're starting to widen up the scope of synthetic biology.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Faith, for that great overview about how teams have moved on to be formed and possibly how can you source for funding. Because you've realized that the only thing that iGEM has done is to make sure they provide the information and resources. Most times they mentor the team from the start up to when you are able to join and compete in the Jamboree. So that's why, as we are trying to see how we can collaborate, at least I have put that platform whereby teams can get the mentorship. So as I end this panel, I would like to get just with 2 words from each of our delegates, Rana and Mary. Possibly, what could they tell the teams that are out there that would like to participate in iGEM? Possibly starting with Mary.
Okay. I think when you asked that question, it's reminded me. I think most of us know Eliud Kipchoge. He said, "If you dare to think, you dare to try, and if you dare to try, at least you dare to win." So I'd say it may be a new field. It may have its own challenges coming from an African perspective, but the fact that you're willing to try, you're willing to put yourself out there, you have no idea how far you can go. That's honestly what has been happening to ABSI Kenya, because you're both part of the EPIC fast track and you're both part of the iGEM team. And so far, despite us not being able to fund ourselves, get the lab and all that, we still managed to get as far as the finals. So I'd say go for it. Don't limit yourself.
Okay, thank you, Mary.
So yeah, I guess I totally agree with Mary, and I see that I want to tell them that you're gonna always win. So if you're gonna participate in this, and even if you get results that didn't work at all, or even if you face a lot of challenges, each challenge you are facing and each experience you are passing through is a win situation. Because you're gonna learn, or you're gonna improve, or you're gonna innovate. In all cases, you are winning, and at what level you're gonna stop, or what level you are starting, it's all about experience, and it's all a lot of enriching one. And also, I want to tell them that there is no impossible that you cannot do. So whatever you think that should be solved, whatever the problem that you can detect or you can identify, and I say, I want to solve this. This has to be solved. Whatever the case, whatever your situation, if you don't have, you feel that you don't start, you cannot start. Just start working with this and find passionate people. So it's all about here in Africa is that we have the passion and we have the dedication, and I totally tell you that it can cause miracles.
Thank you so much. Yes, I think I'll just take one question.
Hello, everyone. My name is Muturi. I'm from Pan African University, but I'm from Benin Republic. My question is going to Richard and after SBI. I have looked at the review of Richard very well, and nowhere he has not mentioned genetic engineering. So I would like to ask him, what difference does he make between synthetic biology and genetic engineering? I have another question for you. Know that team have been following them very well. I would like to ask them, what is the synthetic part? I mean, where is the synthetic biology part in their project? And as they put it very well, the one from Egypt, not only the one from Egypt, but also the PI. Yes, if you don't have someone who has a background in genetic engineering in your team, you may not really, your project may not be successful. Money is not the problem, but you should have a strong. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ferdinand. I think, as you've said about the genetic engineering aspect, possibly the teams that could have presented might have not maybe done projects that would need much of the genetic engineering, but this is also a part that is really considered in iGEM, and most of the iGEM teams have used the genetic engineering to do most of their work. And what I can say that also it's a challenge that you getting a multidisciplinary team may not be possible, but at least iGEM has put in mentors who can really help the team that may need such a knowledge in case they don't have a member. For example, the current Kenyan team does not have someone who can, they are doing a project on a biosensor, but they found out they didn't have the knowledge in gene circuit. And iGEM had to provide someone to them who has really mentored them through a period of over 3 months, and they are now able to produce the circuit. So what I can say is that sometimes you may not have the person, and it may not be a major limit because you may wait for this person and you don't find the person. But iGEM has put in to make sure it has people who are equipped with that knowledge, and they can be able to provide the mentorship to successfully run any project that you may not have full knowledge in, but they can provide that support in form of mentorship. So,
Richard, let me just add something.
Yes.
Yes. Let me add something, even as Richard is getting to give not in an answer. When you think about synthetic biology, it's more of a multidisciplinary setup. So genetic engineering, as much as it is important, it's just a component of what makes synthetic biology become useful at the end of the day. And it depends on what angle you want to look at. For example, if like the Ugandan team, when they wanted to extract oil and to look at the different metabolites from the plants, then you'd realize that they probably might need a chemist. If like us, the way we started out, we wanted to even work on a biosensor that would be able to detect not just heavy metals but microbial contaminants. So we had to put somebody who is a molecular microbiologist in the team. So it will depend on what aspect of the synthetic biology you're looking at, and that will determine the expertise you want. So in as much as, yes, genetic engineering is important, it is just one of the disciplinaries that come together to make synthetic biology what it is. Yeah.
Could I just answer that quickly so that we move on, because I know time is really not on our side. The differences between genetic engineering and synthetic biology. Synthetic biology is an advanced form. I'll give it as an analogy like this. There are different forms of engineering. Let's talk about maybe the car, making a car. If you are able to change a tire, that is a form of engineering. You've actually accomplished an engineering problem. But if you are able to actually build an entire engine from scratch, that's an entire level of engineering. That is the same way with genetic engineering and synthetic biology. Genetic engineering, we are looking at maybe changing one gene in an organism and trying to do a few things with that. Synthetic biology is reorganizing the entire genome of an organism. You are engineering an entire organism you are looking at so that it has a totally different function. So that you have, for example, E. coli being able, for example, in our case, being able to sense for both microbial and chemical contaminants in drinking water, something that ordinarily E. coli does not do. So for you to establish, do a synthetic biology project, you have to be able to reorganize the entire genome, which is a higher level of higher level engineering as compared to just knocking out one gene and replacing it with the other and looking at how it works. So that to me, that's the difference between genetic engineering and synthetic biology. Synthetic biology have a very high complex process that involves so many other disciplines. You have, as I mentioned in my presentation, you have to include Boolean logic gates, you have to include mathematical modeling, you have to include principles of engineering, and of course biology as the basis and all those things. So that is how I look at it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Richard. So I'd like to thank my panelists, Dr. Faith Onditi, Richard Machoka, Rana Sala, and Mary from Kenya. Thank you so much for giving the highlights about really iGEM, what it is, and how someone can join in. So let's give an applause to them as they head to their seats. Thank you.